Hey, today I'm going to rock your world with the show that we have today. Now, listen, if you're a content creator or you're a wannabe author and you're thinking, I'd love to have a book out, what if it was easier now to put out more new books? I know, right? Because as an author myself, I'm thinking if you can make my job easier and I can produce more content, I'm interested. And Malene Bendtsen is with us today, and she's going to give us the secrets to what you can use in technologies to help make your authorship easier. And as always, we have to listen to that music. All right, I'll see you guys in a second. You're on the Success Secrets for Business, Family, and Life channel. This is the Coffee Break Show. I'm Vickie Helm, and today we have Malene Bendtsen. Thank you for being on the Coffee Break Show with us.
Thank you so much. I'm delighted.
Today, we've been talking a little bit about the future of publishing, and today we are going to break that apart. Now, if you don't know about Malene, I want to share it with you because she has a boatload of experience in this industry right now. She is a book coach. She has a podcast. She does blogging. She's a two-time author. She's a speaker. She's done all these things around talking about publishing and how you can create more content, better content using futuristic tools. Now, here's the secret. She's really a futurist and she's an innovator. And so I'm so happy. I can't wait to geek out on this subject with you so that we can talk about how things are going to get easier for content creators. Welcome here. And how did you even get started? How did you land this gig and say, okay, this is what I'm interested in. This is what I want to do?
Well, it's everything that happened in my life has been a little bit random. So I was very fond of books when I was a young girl, and I even had my own small library at home, and I had these small pencils and papers, and the children in the street could come write their own stories. I'm pretty sure nobody ever came. But it was always part of my DNA that I read a lot, and I loved school. I loved writing. I was when I did my MBA, I didn't tell anyone that I finished my final assignment a month before deadline because I just
Wow.
love to dive into to that kind of content. So how I really landed in publishing is also a coincidence. I had been teaching IT in the 90s, teaching people not to hit enter at the end of each line of text, and also what to do when the screen turned blue. So I was always I was always an early adopter of things. And after that, I became an innovator in an insurance company, also a very mature industry, just like education and publishing, very mature industries. But what I did when I was an innovator was always, it was like I found my spot, because what I was able to do was to, instead of, when I see something that I don't quite understand, or something that it doesn't really fit, there's something there. I raise a lot of questions. I like to dive into those questions, and I always kept those small pieces of information out here, instead of allowing my brain just to reject it as something important. Uh, and I could really dive into that in my work as an innovator. But at some point, after 7 years and becoming a director in the company, I was not doing much creative work anymore. So I decided to quit my job, and I went traveling. And at some point, I thought, this inner gypsy that I have, that that's Cuban salsa and that wants to, with the digital nomad life and all of that, was just it was just pulling me towards, it was calling me, you have to go to South America, Malene. So I did that, and I connected with a few former colleagues that were then living in Lima. She was Peruvian. I
Oh,
lived
yeah.
with her sister there, and I went to visit for 5 months in Lima. I figured then I'm going to learn some Spanish, and I'm going to learn about the culture, and I'm going to do some consultancy to learn some business as well. And I really thought I was going more in a marketing consultancy way there. And I also did, but for a very short period of time, because very quickly, one of my first customers was a Peruvian Danish startup company who were digitalizing books, already printed books that they turned into ebooks.
Mm-hmm.
So this was very modern back then in 2014. And I ended up creating this investment proposal for a Danish investor who then invested and asked me to stay on as the CEO of that self-publishing company. So we were
Cool.
building a self-publishing platform, a digital platform where people could publish their books themselves with print on demand. So you upload your book and it's printed one by one as they are sold. So for me, that was a big innovation of the industry.
It was.
But later on, I've realized it's quite incremental because it's still the exact same system. It's the same players. It's the same profit sharing model that it has been forever. So I've come to realize that, and that's only very recently I've realized that it's not that big of an innovation. It's quite incremental. It's more that we have allowed independent
Interesting.
authors to
Mhm.
use the same distribution system as the bigger publishers do, and also that we are the real invention is that we print one at a time. So we allow for a higher print cost. That's innovation. That's significant, really, if you think about it.
You
And,
know,
and
I totally agree with you. I remember when I first started in my books, you had to negotiate how many books you were going to print and how it was. And that print on demand, knocking it down to one upon order, that was like, wow, that was great for us.
yes,
But you're right, that is only a single innovation. It was a
yes.
powerful innovation, but a single innovation.
Yes, it was. So, and it really didn't imply a huge shift in technology. It was
Yeah.
more in the rules or the policies of the
Mhm.
industries. So, what I've come across is blockchain
I love
technology.
blockchain.
And I'm amazed. And I did projects when I was head of innovation in this insurance company. I did projects with both Second Life, which is kind of the first metaverse,
Yeah.
and also with bitcoins, and it was definitely part of our trend work there. But that's 15 years ago, and I haven't heard much about it since. And only, well, about this time last year, I started hearing NFTs, Web3 popping up everywhere. And I was going to the social media marketing world in San Diego,
Oh,
and
yeah.
I thought, I'm pretty sure Mike Stelzner is gonna make this the number one topic. So I started diving in and learning as much as I could before the conference. And then I spent all that time asking all of these speakers, and this is a big conference with 6,000
Yeah,
participants.
I know
So that,
Joel Tom speaks there. That's his gig every year. He speaks
yeah,
at that
yeah,
social media marketing world.
yeah, there are many, many speakers. Well, a little less last year. It was still post-corona, so,
Mhm.
but a lot of speakers. And I have before I've been fortunate enough to be able to talk them into being guests on my podcast. So I have quite a few good connections there. And I
Yeah.
thought I'm going to use this opportunity and this time to ask them, what are you going to do with your book with this Web3 NFT happening right now? And everybody well, they didn't really have any answers. They didn't they understood the technology, especially after the conference, but they didn't really grasp what does this mean for book publishing. So
Yes.
I thought I'm gonna make that my next book. I'm gonna go back home, learn more about this, and I'm gonna write a book. And then moving into this with writing faster, what I decided to do was to make it an open process. So I started August 1st, and in 35 days, I wrote the entire book. And this was about a topic. I've written many books before. I'm the editor of more than 30 books, but I have usually it's either the knowledge of a customer or it's a
That's right.
already organized knowledge. So that's why we can usually do it fast. But this time it was a visionary book about something that I needed to understand myself and I needed to figure out, but how can we use this? There was no books, no courses, no videos on this topic. On Web3, yes. On NFTs, yes. On metaverse, yes. On social tokens, but not what it meant for authors. So that's what I make the
Fantastic.
book about. Yeah.
I'm so blown away by what you just said, and there's so much to unpack. But first off, way to see the hole in the boat. Like, here's all this technology, and how is it going to flip the industry on hand? Now, there's a couple of things about it. One is there's still a lot of people intimidated by blockchain
Yes.
and NFTs,
Yes.
although they're going to be very much in there.
Yeah.
What it does, though, is put the power back in the content creators' hands. And so
Exactly.
there's a lot more power to have a company and a brand as an author than just simply having a publishing company back you. And there's still the mindset of you have to go find a publisher, because I have a publisher now and I love her.
Yeah.
And we work together well. So there's that thing. But now it's shifting and it's moving over almost kind of, if I could say, Melanie, is it like decentralized publishing? I mean, let's
Yeah.
talk a little bit about what that means, decentralized publishing, because that there can be, we're getting to the point where it eliminating the middleman? Tell us more about the ability of NFTs and blockchain to create a publishing powerhouse.
Yeah, I think that it might change who the players are. So what
Mhm.
we see right now is that those who are driving the change in this specific niche is not the bigger publishers. It is
That's right.
and also not the smaller ones, because they don't have
It
the
doesn't
resources
benefit
for
the
that.
publishers. None
No,
of this does. It
no.
benefits the artist.
Yeah, what's interesting is that some of the initiatives are actually driven by book distributors. So they are
Distribution.
investing, but they're investing in small tech companies that are driving this. So all of this development comes from from tech people who have seen the same opportunity as I see, and they just go ahead and develop that.
Say
Um,
more about that, because I know that a lot of people, especially new authors, don't understand book distribution at all.
yeah,
And what they
yeah,
think is, who's the 800-pound gorilla in the publishing industry where you get books? It's
yeah,
obviously Amazon. So
yeah,
right away, everything that's written goes to Amazon. And then they're like, how do I get it in the stores? How
yeah.
do I? So let's talk about distribution in that way.
Well, distribution can come from two ways. Either you go via a publisher, or, well, you can take three ways. And the other is self-publishing. But self-publishing can be two things. It can be doing exactly what the publishers does. You print a number of books, and then you put them in a warehouse that offers that fulfillment service of distributing and making these books
I've done that.
visible to all of the bookstores.
Mhm.
Or you have the print on demand, where you upload it, and it's still the same system. Really, the printing part is different, but the distribution to all of the bookstores is more or less the same. It's one big system, so no matter where you publish your book, it's the same database that all bookstores get data from.
Wow.
So it's very, very consolidated. If you put on top of that 80% of all book sales are from 4 US publishers,
Yes.
4 publishers, 80% of the market. The revenue in the industry has been the same, more or less, in the past 15 years. But
Brilliant.
the profits from that are reported from the bigger players are increasing. In other words,
Mhm.
the profits of the smaller ones are
Are
shrink.
shrinking.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and there are even more smaller publishers than there were before, because it's so easy to become a publisher. So yeah,
This is brilliant. This is brilliant what the knowledge bomb that you just dropped right there.
yeah,
It's the distribution system that is being set up by this blockchain.
yeah,
So back in the day, I know from my publishers, and I was at the top. I had a top 10 publisher in the United States. So what I know about them was, back in the day. So my first book came out in the 90s. Back in the day, when you sent books to publishing stores. The publisher was allowed to order as many as they wanted. So let's
Yeah.
say the publisher wanted, let's say it was Barnes and Noble, and they wanted 10,000 copies to distribute throughout their stores. And then they would, over a period of time, sell as many as they could. And then they would return the difference. And then be like, you settle up. And it took the publishers, the authors, I never got paid, but like twice a year.
Yeah.
And because there was this huge time gap between
Yes.
when you wrote the book, when they got to sell them, and then you had to say, well, here's all my returns. We didn't sell as much as we thought we would, or, et cetera. And then you would settle up. And that
Yes.
was just kind of the industry standard. And what I'm curious about is, and this is what I'm thinking in my head that I think is so revolutionary. Are you saying that bookstores all over the world, because publishing is different in the United States than it is in Europe. And
Mm.
I remember in Europe, they still had mom and pop bookstores everywhere. So
Yeah,
they can
less
go
and
and they
less, I think.
say,
Yeah.
so they can go in and they can say, hi, could I get this book? And they're like, yes, we can order it for you. And
Yeah.
instead of having to buy a certain amount of copies, they can just order the one, it gets printed. And without you having to have stores, because having stores in your garage of books so you can mail them to Amazon and get them over there, they can just order without having to order extra copies. Is that what you're saying? Am I getting this right?
Yeah, that it works like, well, I don't know for all of each of the European countries, but in Scandinavia it's definitely like that still. So can still order a book. It depends on
And it's
how
away
how
from
it
Amazon. It's not like just Amazon's print
no
on demand system. It's
no
its own print on demand system. So essentially, it has leveled the playing field. So if you put a book on Amazon, you can also put a book here and it will hit the other distribution systems.
Well, the fantastic thing is that nowadays authors who self-publish, they decide whether they want to choose services for publishing that will take their copyrights for the book. So you don't have to hand over your rights to anyone. And if you're a solopreneur and you're an expert and you're publishing non-fiction books, and it's going to be a branding and marketing tool for you, it's probably going to be one of your most important assets in your business. So you should own that asset, because
Absolutely.
what you mentioned is with the publisher being able to select whatever number of books they want to print, and the authors tend to be excited about a big number, but they don't realize that a big number is what makes it profitable for the publisher, because they will have a lower print cost per book,
That's right.
and
That's right.
the risk is almost always 100% carried by the author, not
That's
by the
exactly
publisher.
true. You got
Yeah,
that right, sister. Been there,
yeah,
done that.
yeah. But another thing that they determine is that if, let's say, they print 5,000 copies, they sell all 5,000, everyone is happy. The author would like the book to stay on the market, but the publisher has made their market analysis, and they have
That's
these
right.
3 new authors who
Yep.
had
And you're
another
done.
book ready.
Yep.
So they're going to go with one of those, and they don't want to print in a smaller volume because there's not enough market for another 5,000. So
That's
they will
right.
have to print their next batch at a higher cost. So,
That's right.
and in this case, if I, as the author, gave my rights to that publisher, this book could be off the market and I can do zero about
Just
it.
like that.
I
Yep.
might even, in some cases, I've heard stories about it. I haven't experienced it myself, but I've heard stories where the author wasn't even allowed to write another book in the same category.
That's right.
So I'm not saying that publishing with a publisher is bad. I'm just saying educate yourself and read the fine print.
I
And
can say honestly that I have been tripped up. In fact, the publisher I had right now had to help me get out of a contract, a really bad contract, just
yeah,
so I could regroup. It's like everybody wants to land that big publishing deal. It's like, can I get one of the big 10 publishers?
yeah,
And I think to myself, that ego boost is, in the fine print is
Yeah,
so terrible. And I
yeah,
know the ego boost piece of it. I've done it.
yeah,
I still want to ask you because I'm not clear. I mean, I know that everything to me that you're saying I can do through Amazon.
yes.
The question is, and I know the print on demand, and you can have self-publishing and go into Amazon and make a million bucks. I'm still not sure how the distribution is different, except for there's a place where bookstores can go to order your book. Is it separate from Amazon or is it the same as Amazon?
No, this is a one common system from that Barnes and Noble and everybody else also uses. So if you
Is
publish
it
on
like
Amazon,
Greenleaf is what you're saying? Or tell us a
if
little
if you
bit more.
if you publish on Amazon, is self-publish on Amazon, what you will do is just take a box and say, I would like expanded distribution. There's some requirements
Expanded
for the trim
distribution.
size and so forth. But that means just simply that your book now enters a database that all of the bookstores have access to, and they will just pull the data from there, create a website on their web shop that will show your page like it will be shown on Amazon.
Yeah.
And if it is a customer buys your book from Barnes and Noble, it will still be Amazon printing that, so it will know where
Yeah.
it comes from. So, but what Web3 is changing is the ownership. So you could say first
I
step is
see.
that I don't go with a publisher. I'm choosing self-publishing. I'm keeping all of my rights to myself. I do that if I publish on Amazon as well. The book rights are mine still. Um, but it's harder to document who owns what. That's one thing.
Yeah.
But also the reader, they purchase a book and then they can do what with it afterwards. And nowadays, Amazon will offer that you can sell your used books as well.
Mm,
However, the author is not paid again.
that's
So this
true.
will be between the
Trust you me.
reader and the shop. So in a Web3, what we can very easily do, and it's super easy. Actually, I've done it today with my own book. It's just putting a number. How much of a percentage do you want to be your royalty when a buyer of this NFT book resells it? And it's in perpetuity, so it's forever. Uh,
Fantastic. This
yeah,
is Web3,
this
and
is Web.
it's having your book become an NFT.
Yes,
Now, that word scares most people. Let's talk about what actually is an NFT on the
yeah,
blockchain. So, what you're saying is you put your book as an NFT, and you
yes,
can now control in perpetuity the
yeah,
royalty you get anytime it sells.
yes.
Do you
And
guys
it's
even get
and
that?
and the fantastic thing is an NFT. It stands for non-fungible token, and I think even Americans don't know what fungible is. So it's a weird word, and I'm pretty sure in a second it will be called something else. So don't worry about the words in it. What's important is that each NFT is unique. So even if I publish 10,000 NFTs for the same book, each one of them are registered on the blockchain. And you can say, what is registered on the blockchain? It's a chain of blocks. So each time and something for the blockchain is created, each transaction is adding one more block to that chain. So there would be 10,000 new blocks if I mint 10,000 NFT books to the blockchain. This means that this blockchain is completely transparent. So
Yeah.
when I sell books on Amazon, even though 55% of all books are sold on Amazon, and the rest of them are for the majority, and for digital, it's both ebooks and audio. It's all of them are sold online. People pay with their credit card. We know who they are. We know who bought them, except it's not information or data that is available for the author, only for the store. So what we get is at an accumulated level, some people are suspicious whether we even know that's our sales because we don't have any documentation of who bought them. It's
That's
just
right.
a number they hand out to us.
That's right.
I trust that they cannot afford not to be honest in this. I'm pretty sure
I
somebody is
agree.
auditing that. So
Agreed.
so let's trust the numbers are correct, but we don't get the customer data. When we sell as NFTs, we will be. This is a transparent system. It's meant to decentralize information,
Yes.
decentralize the way we store information on the blockchain, decentralize ownership of systems. And what happens with an NFT is that it's a so you can say what is an NFT? It's a digital art piece. So some visual representation. It can even be a QR code, or it can be an image or a small video or a GIF or something. But what's interesting about it is the smart contract behind it.
That's
So
right.
so it's attached to a piece of programming.
That's
And
right.
when somebody wants to do something with that NFT, for example, you purchased my NFT book and now you want to sell it on to someone else, the smart contract will immediately run that piece of programming and give me my 20% of that book and give you your part of the sales.
That's
So
right.
it's immediate payment within 10 minutes to the author.
Beautiful.
And it's running and it's documenting the new ownership on the blockchain. So what's the implications of that? It means as the author, right after I sold them, or 3 years down the line, I can look up who owns these NFTs and what I can do, so I can get their wallet addresses. You need a digital wallet to
Yeah,
trade these NFTs.
that's
So
correct.
that's something we will all have. Don't worry about it right now. It's something we will all have in a second. But I will know the wallet addresses, not necessarily who the people are, but the wallet addresses. And when I have those, I can send more goodies to those wallet addresses. So
Yes.
so I
You
can
can even
send.
let them know that your next publication is coming out.
Yep. Or I can send them. I can send them and not my the first chapter of my next book, or I could allow them to use their NFT to unlock. It's called token gating. So it's the token that will open the gate to something on my website, for example. Instead of logging in with an email, you just put your wallet address and you prove that you right now is the owner of that NFT. And maybe I would grant you access to a course that is called NFT for authors.
Oh my
So,
gosh, Malene, you're blowing my mind for a second.
yeah,
So I want to talk to the newbie author right now. Why you're writing the book is
yeah,
a big deal, whether you're fiction or nonfiction or kids' books or whatever else. The why is important. So what's happening is the traditional way of profiting from writing a book, which doesn't value the author, it
yeah,
values the publisher,
yeah,
is getting to the point where it is being eliminated by technology. So if you're a new author and you want to have a 10, 15, or 20-year career, and you're writing consistently and you're making books so that you want to be maybe a James Patterson or a Janet Yovanovitch, where you have a book after a book after a book, or you're a nonfiction author that goes from book to course, book to course. Anytime that you go to get your book in a bookstore, you don't get to know who bought it. You don't get any connection with them, but they do. So your lead generation, in the past, we've had, well, I have my book funnel. Well, that book funnel means that you can't have your books in the store, because if you're using that book funnel, then it's only the book funnel, because that's how you're getting the lead.
hmm,
What she has said right now is that even if you have a book funnel, even if you're on Amazon, no matter where you are, that lead comes in. So your cost to your leads is now shrunk. And you get to the point where you're building your brand and building your readership. And let me tell you something. I have years and decades of writing books, and you want to get to the point where you're like, here's my next book out, and it just sells. If you can talk to the reader who bought your last book, chances are they're going to buy your next book. Your
hmm,
next book is absolutely protected. So if she's saying right now, if I sell you a book and you read it and you have a library of books and you're like, okay, I need to get rid of some of these books, and you sell that book using the blockchain method, you get some money for selling it, and I get some money when you sell it as well. That royalty continues in perpetuity. So whoever sells the book from now on, you get paid indefinitely. As an author, I can tell you, I was around as an author when ebooks started on Amazon. And I remember Amazon telling me, this is true, God's honest truth. Amazon saying, listen, we want ebook writers and we're going to give you a 70% royalty, which at that time was never heard of, 70% royalty. But back then they captured you. They were like, you can only write ebooks for us and that's it. And so what happened was they wanted me to write ebooks for there. My publishing contract, it was the first one, I got 35 cents a book. I found my book, which one of my books, it became a collector's item. I'm not sure. I couldn't remember what it was, but I found it on eBay. The book that I got 35 cents for sale for $650. And I watched the auction. Me and my friends watched the auction, and I watched them sell the book to a collector for $650 while I got 35 cents for it. This is the thing that she is absolutely correcting when we say, because that percentage would be there. This is the thing where the author, the creator of the the content gets exactly paid for in perpetuity what they're doing. Melanie, you are blowing, Malene, I'm sorry, I keep calling you Melanie. Malene, you are blowing my mind. So it's so important.
If I can build on what you just said, Vickie, because that it became a collector's item was a coincidence in that case. I think that's fair to say, right?
It was.
Now it can be a deliberate strategy that you are. When I add that, if my readership are expecting from me, no, I'm not gonna sell. I'm not gonna sell this NFT because I know Malene and she's gonna send more goodies my way. So I'm gonna hold it. If you at the same time then think about what we talked about, that volume was important before. Well, now it might be more interesting to only publish 100 copies and let it be auctioned and
Ooh,
add
I
more
see what you're
value.
doing.
And
Oh my
the
God.
price will go up because people will want it and there's not enough available, and they know that it will give them access to amazing events or
Yeah.
a dinner
My
with
hair's caught
yoga
fire.
yeah.
You
It
know,
can be.
that's one of the things that I don't like about Amazon. I love Amazon and the thing, but if I have a book that I know can sell for $97 or $100 or $200, maybe it's a law book or a business book or whatever book you're writing, and they want to control how much you charge for the book. If you charge what it's worth, the value in the book, your percentage goes down. And now you can say, well, there are 100 copies, they're $200 each, and this is a limited time for a limited thing, and it's really an expertise. Then you can actually charge for a book what it's supposed to be worth, the value in the book, not the cost of how to make the book or print the book. Like, oh, it costs us $3 to make this book. You're actually trading the value of what you're giving somebody. And actually, that is how you can sell programs and things like that. And I love what you just said, Malene, about if somebody wants to hold on to it, you can make it worthy, and you are eliminating the need to make 10 or 20,000 copies. You have created now for the content creator value. And I'm trying to say this to all authors. And if you're not an author, you need to be paying attention right now, because this is the future of marketing. It's not going to be like Facebook ads, iOS 14, 15, 16, and iOS, whatever's going to go up. That privacy thing is going to get more and more and more and more. And the way that ads are don't work as well as what she did. This is about creating a community, taking care of your readership, growing your readership, creating something that's special for them, and building a business that will pay you in perpetuity. In fact, I wish I was starting. Like, Malene, I wish I have 42 books out right now. I wish I started,
Yeah.
and I'm like, these are so key what you just said, because believe it or not, this is going to be the future of publishing. I remember back in the day when Amazon first ebooks came out and bookstores everywhere. Some of them were falling like flies, and some of them were like, yeah, ebooks, shmee books. Nobody replaces a book. Now, I love the feel and hold of a book. But now, more often than not, the speed of getting the book is immediately with ebooks. And my speed at acquiring the information is something that I want. I love that this is there. Now, what if someone is starting out right now and they're scared of blockchain, scared of NFTs, don't understand what you're talking about, but truly want to protect their interests, their copyrights, their assets? Because the value of what you know when it's turned into a book is an asset. And let me just tell you two things right now. If you've read Cash Flow Mojo, there are only two ways to get assets. You buy them or you build them. That's it. When you write a work, or when you write a piece of work, like a book, you are building an asset. And how you grow it or use it is the most important piece of it. So, Malene, let's say I'm beginning right now and I'm scared of everything. Where do I start? And, what would you say to somebody who's just beginning and doesn't really know what blockchain is and hasn't got an MBA and isn't an innovator futurist? So, what would you say to them?
Well, first of all, it's important. Sorry. It's important to acknowledge that it's not a matter of whether I want this or not. We had web 1 was
Yep.
when
Web
the
3 is
internet
here.
began, and we could only read pages from a company or from a blogger,
Yeah.
but we couldn't
Yeah.
really participate. Then we had web 2, that's social media,
Yep.
where we are the creators of the product that others are profiting from.
That's right.
Right? This is web 3. It's coming. It will be relevant for all of us. It's already, for those who know those early adopting phases.
Yes.
We're getting closer in a mainstream. Even Facebook knows it. They
Yes.
have already implemented NFTs as that you can show collections, and you will even they are testing now this month if on Instagram with a select group of people that they can actually build content and mint on the blockchain on Instagram. So this is coming. So that's the first thing to acknowledge. I am going to have to learn this, and it's annoying. It's just like we didn't want to learn how to use a computer. We didn't
Yep.
want to. Nobody wanted
Yeah.
to, unless we were really tech interested. And also, we didn't think that we would all have cell phones at the time, where it was car phones. That was weird, having a phone on your boat, right?
Yeah.
But now we all have that. We will all have this. So that's important to acknowledge. Then the next step is start educating yourself. Start understanding what this is. So there are a few things. You don't need to learn all the technical parts. And what is happening right now is that it's no longer the technical pioneers, all the geeks in the basements. They have developed the basics for us.
Yeah.
Now there are more web developers who are developing services that makes it easy. And I can tell you, I minted my book today, or I put it up for minting today, and it took me 20 minutes. There's nothing to learn. The process was there. It's super easy. There are different types of services, and they offer different things. Sometimes it's not the actual book that is minted, but it's an NFT with access to a book. And I think we should wait a little bit for it being really the encryption of the entire book, so that we protect the asset, and it will be distributed on a lot of servers. And when you read it in an e-reader, it will come together again, so it looks like the book you designed. This is what's coming. It's going to be super easy. But
is the piece of art in the NFT the book cover itself, or is it something else completely?
It can be, or you can take a little Mark Manson. He has that's a guy with the The Subtle Art of Not Giving a F.
Yeah, I like him.
He was number one on Amazon, on the entire of Amazon, for many, many months.
Yeah.
And what he has done is to take small quotes from his book and create small images with those quotes, so they are all different. This means that when I want to show off my NFT on Instagram, I can pick a quote that says something about who I am. So we can become really creative there. What I've done is to take my book cover, because I want that to be known in this case.
Yeah.
But there are different ways of doing that. And if it's okay that I tell a little bit about the
Yes,
book I'm publishing right
absolutely.
now.
And I can't wait to get it. My hair is on fire right now as an author talking to you. And let me just tell you, if you're a business owner right now, you're a content creator. I don't care if you're a business owner, you're a content creator. I don't care what business you're in. I don't care if it is publishing or if you are a marketing person, if you're a CEO, if you're branding, if you're whatever you're doing. I don't care if you're a coffee house. You need to be paying attention to what she is saying right now. Every bit of content, this is the future. It's unfolding now. And just like I remember back, people, I don't want any computer in my business. And now they're everywhere. You will not be able to move forward unless you know these things. This is the most important conversation in publishing as a content creator or a marketer that you must have right now with her. And
Yes.
I want her to be able to share that right now.
And you're right, Vickie. It's across all industries. This is not just what I've dived into is what can it mean for authors, but this is happening in all industries. Let me just mention a few. One of the biggest industries one of the industries that have come the farthest in this is actually fashion. So 2023 Fashion Week is in the metaverse, and I bet there will be NFTs.
Whoa.
The NFL. Savannah Bananas.
Yeah.
And now you mentioned coffee. Starbucks have just launched a loyalty program that is based on NFTs, so that you will earn rewards and you can get access with different things about those NFTs. And so I don't know all of the details, but this is everywhere. So So in my book, I explain to the level that is necessary, no more. What is Web3? What is social tokens? What are all of these terms? So that's one part of the book. But the majority of the book is actually about what does this mean for authorship? So how can we reimagine what authorship is all about? And a part of that is diving into all of the things that an NFT can do. So I'm outlining why can it do this? What is actually that is happening with this NFT? So you can get a little bit of tech understanding, but apply it to something useful. And in the end of the book, I'm giving a framework on how you can figure out for your readership, your audience, what strategy will fit them best, and how does that fit your goals. So
may I ask you a question in this, because it just occurred to me, the value that you're giving and the intermediaries out there, because I consider Vimeo and YouTube an intermediary. The only thing they bring is an audience. Yes. So if you have an NFT right now and that NFT, you can put special trainings on there, or special videos, or videos that are only going to be here, etc. Yeah. Then can you build your community through that NFT by making that private content?
Yeah, community is a huge part of this.
Whoa, you are just blowing my mind. I don't think people can see what that's going to do to the future of everything.
So what you have bought is a contract. So it's the art pieces for marketing and for branding, but the contract, what it can do is what you're really buying, and you can think about it as a key, so it can unlock things, and that can be anything. If you can even use it for voting.
You can bet. You're absolutely right. There are going to be people right now, probably right now in the beta phase of this, who are moving and taking their content, their ability to create this knowledge and saying, I'm tired of giving it away for free. Now I'm going to make it that my content is my business. And the thing about it is, when you go to YouTube, you give your content away for free and you get a portion of ads. That's it. You
Yeah.
get a portion of the ads that they sell, or
Yeah.
maybe something that you sell there. Do you get that?
Mm.
So it's about not getting a portion anymore, but taking complete responsibility for the business and the client you serve, for the message you create, and the copyright and asset building that it creates through there. My hair is on fire, and I see a very vastly different future. I mean, a very vastly different future. And right now, I'm so excited. I'm
Yeah.
like, wow! As a content creator, I can say, um, I I wrote articles on Medium for a little over a year because I was asked to when they first started. And I wrote the articles in, I don't know, 2016, 2017, 20 something or other. It was a while back. And I did 70 articles for them. And the thing was, when you wrote the article, you you had to get people to push the clap button before you made some profits. And
Mm.
the other day, I was going through my stuff with my accountant, and they were like, "What is this 17 cents? What is this 48 cents? What is this, thing?" And I was looking at it, 17 cents, 48 cents, et cetera. And I looked, and it was articles that I got paid way more in 2017 that were still paying me now,
Yeah.
but only 17 cents. And
Yeah.
it was just a portion of what Medium got. So every bit of the players that has been exploiting the content creators, that exploitation is going to die. And those systems, they're going to be doing whatever they can to start paying content creators and using the blockchain. Because
Yeah.
I'm on the beta test right now for Facebook. I
Yeah.
get paid for my show as it goes out, and it's new. I think it's like in the last 6 months, and you have to be a content creator. But I created some 550 shows before this that they just had as content for free. And now I'm looking at apps, I'm looking at everything that you're saying. The NFT is going to slaughter every one of those systems. She's right. And I want to just say this right now with all my heart. You need to read her book. Absolutely. Right now, you need to go to her website and get that book. And you have to educate yourself now, right now, because there's so much opportunity right now. And my hair is on fire, just absolutely on fire. So
Yeah.
now, talk about your book. You go absolutely, and I interrupted you and I was like, okay, here's the basics, here's this. Then you go in and
Yeah, well, I already outlined a little bit what it's about. It's for anyone. I mostly serve nonfiction authors, but the majority of what's in the book is for any author.
yeah,
So all of the technology, all of the strategies, how your readership is thinking, what kind of relationship do I want to build with them? You should, even if you're a fiction writer, you should think about your authorship as a business, right? So
yeah,
it's the same. Um, so I think that well, it's quite easily written. What I would like to mention also is how I created it. So I wrote it in 35 days. Even though it's this visionary book that I needed to learn stuff while I was doing it. It was usually when I have done many books in 30 days. That's one of the things I teach, but it is based on that. It's based on organized knowledge. That's what I call it. So it's things that the author has taught before. So they have already structured all of this information. That was not the case when I wrote my book. So how could I do that? Well, two things is to have a solid outline, maybe 15 or 20 pages with bullet points. So I've made all decisions before I start. That's one thing. The other things is I used artificial intelligence. So now you're gonna find this exciting, Vickie. So what I did was I used a tool called Jasper. There are many of these
Jasper. I've heard of that.
AI tools now, but it's like talking to a human. It's
Yeah.
machine learning. It means it's basically a robot who were taught how to predict what I might want to say next. So based on what I've already put in my document, and I prompted and I asked it like I would ask a human being, like an assistant. Um, so I would ask it, create 10 sub headlines for this chapter called this, or create an article on this subject, and it should have this point, this point, and this point. And then I go make coffee while it's just start typing out on the screen. So obviously I will need to edit it afterwards, but some of it was pretty good as it was. And I discovered something that I didn't know I should have in my book. So that was just amazing. It was even helping me doing research, and it could help me find sources and all of that stuff. So about half of the book was uh, really suitable for doing that. So I wrote half of the book in like 3 days or something like that because I used
Fantastic.
Jasper.
My
And
hair is on fire.
yeah, and
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 you know,
and and,
so
and it's not.
there's no more block. What is that? Writer's block? I mean,
Yeah,
first off, I didn't believe it, but writer's gone. This is phenomenal.
you can focus on the decisions, the strategy. What is it that I want this book to be about? What should it do for the reader? What should it do for my business, or my authorship? So you can focus much more on the message, and and use these tools to do it faster. So it's not writing something that is of lower quality. On the contrary, this was really good content that came out of that. Obviously edited, but still, it was very close to. But I want to tell you a little bit more about artificial intelligence,
Yes.
because this book is really one big experiment. Can I write it in 35 days? Can I publish as an NFT? Can I write with a robot? And I made it all transparent so people could follow me 3 times a week while I was doing it. So I was showing them while I was doing it. And then I thought, that book cover, I must be able to do something with that illustration as well. So I found an AI tool. Then I asked it to create a human and a robot with a book, and it should be in sap ice cream colors. And it created
Oh,
my book cover. It took me 20 minutes doing a little bit of variations, and it was there.
and it was a piece of software that did this? What software?
100% ownership to me, but it's original. It doesn't exist anywhere. It creates it from words. And right now, in test modes, more or less, I think it's not completely out yet. You would be able to create video the same way. Create a video with a woman who does a. So there are so much happening that is relevant for content creators in terms of technology. And the good thing is, it's not programming. It's fun. This
Yes,
is
I can
super
see that.
fun. So
I can
yeah,
see the whole thing being fun. I can
yeah,
also see the creative, like after Jasper is done making the content, going through and adding, or oh my God,
yeah,
seeing what it can do.
yeah.
And is the software that creates book covers out yet, or is that still in beta?
Jasper has one, and there's one called Dali E. There's one called I used one called Crayon, which is really very simple. Then my designer used another one to make it high resolution for the book, so it can be printed. But it was all AI tools. Yeah. So you
So
have
let
to
me ask you something. If
some of the
I'm
tools.
reading your book right now, do
Mhm.
you go into this is how in your book, this is what you're going to need? And how do you coach people as well into this new Web3? Because here's what I know. If you're not learning this, if you're not paying attention to this, you are going to miss some of the biggest opportunity because we are in beta right now. We are
Mm.
in beta and it will become more mainstream and you will be ahead of the game. This
Yeah.
is like, hi, I bought Bitcoin in 2013, 2014.
Yeah.
This is like you're at that launch phase right now. This is so important what she's saying. If you don't pay attention, you need to get coached on this, and you want to do the coaching with somebody who's already an innovator, who's already been part of the seeing how this gets done and created this platform for authors to be able to go through and use this. And this is what Malene does. So to me, it's like if you're a first time author and you're thinking, oh, I want to have that book in 2 weeks. I want to have that's crap. You want to be able to own the concept, build an asset, protect that asset, protect your copyright, be able to do it in a logical way so that you're building a community, building a business. This is so much bigger than here's how you can write a book in 2 weeks. Don't waste your time and money on that. Waste your time and money on building a business that is the future. It's just going to happen. So, Malene, I wanted to go back and answer that question because we're getting to the top of the hour, and I could talk another hour. I mean, this is I'm going to have her back on. I promise we'll have her back on the show so we could do part 2 of this. But right now, next gen book author book. That is where I want people to go right now to and if you're driving, if you're listening on iHeartRadio or Pandora or Spotify or Roku TV or wherever you are, relax. The scroll has everything in there, her contact details, her website, and you'll be able to just listen to the show and then look at the show notes and voila, it'll all be there. And I want to let you know, I'm so riveted. I haven't even moved the camera. I'm just riveted to what you're saying. I have frozen in this one. This is so incredible for this industry.
So one thing that I can offer is that I have a membership that is called Goosebump. It's on Goosebump in singular because it's that exciting. So goosebump.pub for publishing, not .com but .pub for publishing. And there is a free membership that you can sign up for so that you can stay in touch and get this information as the opportunities are rolling out, because we're still very early stages. So
I'll be joining.
The book explains all of the opportunities that's going to be there. I even put in the introduction, there's going to be a second edition of this book.
Yeah.
That's for sure. Not because it's not complete or a great book, but because things are moving so fast. So I'm going to keep you updated, even with a free membership, on what's happening. And if you at some point choose, now is the time, I want to be part of this, you can join the membership, but there's a free account as well.
Okay, so this is to me something that's really important. www.goosebump.pub, pub/next-gen-author-book. It is there. The link is already there in the show notes. The link is already there gliding across the screen. You can just see it right there and go to there. Now, I'm going to tell you this right now. As soon as this show is over and I'm done talking with her, and I'm going to go over there and join it myself, because I know as an industry, I know as a publishing industry, that this is the time of Web 3.0. Now, Web 0.0 was there for a long time. And whether you wanted Web 2.0 or not, Web 1.0 died. And then Web 2.0 is having its birth, and now it's having its death. Web 3.0 is the future, and you need to learn about it now. I don't care what business you're in. This is Web 3.0. And if everybody like Facebook and Insta and everyone else is using blockchain and understanding it as a business owner, it's time for you to do that. It's not about trying to get Bitcoin or whatever. It's about building assets and community and a business that is going to pay you in perpetuity. And this is an amazing, amazing conversation. Malene, what would you say to the person who wants to work with you right now but is sitting on the fence?
Well, there's no better time than now. And you're not going to have more time next month. It's not going to happen. I think this excites me so much because this is fun. It doesn't feel like a struggle. It's just fun because we can keep discovering and keep sharing ideas with each other. So how about if we do it this way or that way? So you don't have to do this alone, but you definitely should start. If you are telling yourself, but this is not for me, Now you're gonna be the last person who on the train station then, but you are
Yeah.
gonna get on that train.
Yeah.
Definitely. So,
Unfortunately,
yeah,
get on the train
ta-
now.
yes, take advantage of that you have time to learn. So
Mhm.
later on, those who are behind, they will not have time to learn. They
That's
will
right.
need to pay someone to help them speed up. But you can take time to learn this, and it's gonna be less and less difficult. So right now there are a lot of new words. People they will change. So it's right now with the digital wallet address is very long and looks like coding,
Yes,
but
it
it's still
does.
just copy paste, right? It's still just copy paste. But this will be something that you can call something nicer and all of these the user experience will enhance, and the services for authors is going to explode within the next 3 to 6 months. I'm sure of it.
Jump on now.
Yeah.
Wow, Malene, this has been such an enlightening conversation. I pride myself in having the best experts from around the world for my audience. And I've been doing this, I don't know, I think I'm on my 5th year right now. And today was such an empowering, enlightening conversation with you. And I want to thank you so much for your futuristic view into what's happening and how it can benefit businesses and authors, whether they're nonfiction or fiction or wherever you are, and empowering yourself to create assets. And that, because if you know me, I'm all about creating assets. And most people learn how to create debt.
Yeah.
You have taught everyone how they can take control of their own asset building and their
Yeah.
own income in perpetuity forever. And I'm so grateful for that. And if you're sitting on the fence, jump off the fence right now. If you are in a place where you're like, I don't know what to do to create long term wealth, I don't know what to do to create a legacy, you have just learned that in perpetuity, because I know those smart contracts in the future, you'll be able to will them to your next of kin. Now, think about chicken soup for the soul.
Hmm.
Imagine being able to will that legacy, publishing legacy, to your next of kin and not have to worry about a publisher trying to override it or take everything from it or fight you in court for it. This is huge. It's huge for anything. Uh, Malene, I just want to say thank you for being on the Coffee Break Show. I want to have you back on and
I would be
talk
happy
about this.
to.
And the first thing everybody should do is go get her book right now. I'm like, go get her book. You want to be up to date. It's www.goosebump.pub/next gen author book. The link is in the show notes. And I promise we will have her back on. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you so much, Vickie.
All right. I will see you next week where we will have the most mind blowing experts on the Coffee Break Show. I'll see you then.